show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Come on, Roseanne, do it with me. Yeah! What's going on, all you scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists all across the fruited plain? It is I, your friendly neighborhood Reese on the radio, right here live on WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't worry, I ain't forget you haters. I know you're here. Thank you for being on time. We've had a black president for 8 years. There's no excuse for you to be here on CPT. I'm just telling you right now. Step your game up, haters. Anyway, Roseanne is here. How are you, my dear?
I'm good.
You're never prepared for the opening of the show.
Never.
You never know what your husband's going to say.
No idea what's going to fall out of your face.
Do I surprise you in your daily life? Like
absolutely.
Every day?
Yeah.
Good. I like that.
I was surprised you come home.
What?
I don't know.
Anyway, so Roseanne is here. We got plenty of stuff, plenty of news, plenty of views to get into today. It's Roseanne's favorite day to be here, although she would like to be here more. No, I don't mean that.
Put it all on me.
No, you would like to be here more. But there's so much going on, and
you only put me on when you're not on the radio.
That's not true. You said that before, that I only put you on when the Red Sox are playing, and that's not fair.
Is it true?
No, I'm.
No. Answer the question.
Yes, dear.
Is it true?
Is it true what?
That you put me on when the Sox are playing.
You look fantastic today. No, it's not true. Absolutely not. But it is great. It's better to have you here doing those days because they're longer breaks. The commercial breaks are very, very limited and all this stuff.
Instead of our regular 7 listeners, we have 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so.
But you're always, I think you're always fun to have on. So,
thank you. And
a lot of the people who listen like you. When you're on, they said, who's like, I love your banter. And I go, yeah, of course. It's something we do naturally and we do all the time. It's really not
even
like an
at home
act.
When it's just the two of us.
Exactly.
I'm such a bully.
You are.
And you take it in stride.
But you're funny at it. Like you can say things that are bullying that make me laugh all the time.
That's great. And none of it is like work safe.
You and I had a conversation recently about a story that I did in the stupidest thing I've read today. Mark Fitch, who wrote that story, was on the show the other day, and it was about the special ed teacher in Bridgeport who was taking his special needs kids on trips, and he took them to IKEA.
The pizza guy.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And remember, he took the kids to IKEA on a trip, and I said something about, that's cruelty because I can't stand going in IKEA. That must have been horrible for those kids. And you said something we can never ever say on the air.
Well, we can revise it. They're special ed. What's your excuse?
Yeah.
Because they got lost.
Yeah, they got lost.
Some of the kids got lost. Like, see, even they get, and I was like, yeah, but they're special needs. What's your excuse?
Which is what you said. And it was such a mean thing to say to me, but I kind of looked at it and went, you actually have a point.
I mean, they have arrows on the ground. How can you get lost? Just follow the arrows. Just go where the arrows are.
Those arrows never go where they're supposed to. That's what I think the trick is, right? Again, I'm not disparaging IKEA. I think it's a brilliant marketing move. I think the arrows are put there to give you the impression you're leaving. And they just route you to other parts of the store.
You're going to leave eventually. You just follow them long enough.
That's right.
Could you imagine if Dorothy gave up on the yellow brick road?
Are you really equating it to...
I'm just saying.
Dorothy made the most progress when she got off the road.
Once she reached the destination, she had to follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah. Please.
Just follow the illuminated arrows on the floor. You'll get there.
I'm telling you, again, I think that IKEA is doing something brilliant, against me, because when I go through that place, it's the building looks like
It's a warehouse.
Yes. Well, the warehouse. But imagine, every time I look at it, it's massive. And I know we have to go through that thing when you want to go. In fact, the minute that you say, can we go to IKEA, I'm dreading it. Because I know I'm going to miss a day. Because it is a lot to take in. And they sell everything.
Even food.
Yeah, everything. And I know there's a part of me that says, am I ever going to see anything that I particularly like in the store? No.
They have like a whole living room section set up with the stereo and the TV. You could literally just hang out there.
Yeah, I get it. But when I go in there, I never see anything. That place appeals to you. I think it appeals to women. Unless guys want to tell me otherwise. That I can't. What about you, Roland? Do you go there? Okay, see? Roland does not go. And again, most guys don't for the same reason. It is a long trip. You can't just, you know how supermarkets are? Hey, where's the dill pickles? Aisle 6. Go there, walk out. IKEA is like when you walk in, where are the dill pickles? On the 17th floor. That's what it's like. So you got to pass through every other product and then come all the way back.
Hey,
right.
I'm not going anywhere where they force me to go somewhere where I don't want to go.
Right, you have to go through the entire store.
Yeah, if I want to cut off and go a different direction, you can't. You're not allowed to do that.
Exactly, that's the thing. So the up escalator in the IKEA, right? It's on the 1 yard line. In order to go in the down escalator to leave, you have to go to the other 1 yard line, right? To the opposite end of the store to go down. Because you can't, it's like, once you're up, you're there.
Yeah, as soon as I see that, I'm not even going any further. I'm turning around and going back outside.
And there's usually a guy on the top going, there's only one way out.
It's like they're playing the Hotel California anthem.
Exactly.
We're going to make you look at everything, and you're going to buy something.
Exactly. And that's what I said. Nothing against them. It's a brilliant marketing move.
I love going shopping with you, though. I do.
Yeah, it's fun.
You are such a grumpy, crotchety old fart.
Damn.
You and the men, I literally, it doesn't matter where we go. I ask as soon as I walk, do you have a little couch or something so my husband can sit down?
Yep.
Because otherwise you just grump your way through. And I find it absolutely hysterical. I find it entertaining. I'm more worried about the spectators that are, inadvertently caught up hearing our rants. I can see some of the women sometimes going, oh my gosh. They think it's, we're actually genuinely having a disagreement. Meanwhile, we're laughing, and I'm going, that poor lady's going to go home and tell her husband all about the abusive husband.
Joseph V says, I just finished yesterday's show, and I'm very curious, but is Evan the new Hamden Wallingford Tim? Whatever happened to him anyway? Well,
see, what had happened was,
in a weird way, the whole Tim and Hamden thing, he wasn't banned from the show. He can call up anytime he wants to. What he is sort of exaggerating about is that I banned him on my Facebook page. And he had said something that I considered beyond the pale. And I guess to put it, I mean, I don't have to hide what he said, but he had made a very off-color comment about my sobriety.
Oh, yeah.
Which was unwarranted.
And to be fair, it wasn't only one comment. There was this has been building.
He had been making several comments about it. And not that I was offended by it, but it was a bridge too far because, it was almost like telling a drug addict, go have a Coke and a smile and shut up. Sort of that. And it was his frustration having to say something off color. And I had told him that I'd always, in fact, people don't know this, I've called Tim personally. We've had conversations off air where I've expressed to him several times, Tim, I got nothing against you, buddy. I love you. I love our banter. I love when we go back and forth, but you cannot take the personal out of it. You make this thing always about how somebody is hurting your feelings. And I said, I'm never going to do that. Sure, some people are going to say some things about you. They may crack wise, and some of them may say some off-color things, but you've got to deal with them on that. Don't pin that on me. I never said anything about it. But when I call you and I say, hey, lighten up, I'm not mean-spirited towards you. We can have the banter. Call up any time. And it's so personal to him that he has to go the extra mile. And in that case, I was just like, all right, buddy, I've tried with you. And I gave him every opportunity. I said, look, you just can't come on my Facebook page anymore because you can't keep it civil.
You did get some free advertising on other radio stations, though.
Yeah, absolutely. He's calling other radio stations to complain about me, and, that's great. If those listeners come to my show, hey, God bless you. And I think he's a great PR guy, to be honest with you.
I concur.
And he can call here anytime, just so you know. And thank you, Joey V, for asking. Tong says, I don't know who that is, but if that's William Tong, thank you. We don't care to hear about you two shopping.
Yes, you do.
Wish you would.
Yes,
wish
you
you would stay solo and stick with the issues. Tim and Tong are watching.
Good. We like it. I'm beginning to really appreciate the hatred. I thank you for that. You taught me this. This is phenomenal because your haters will listen a lot longer than people who love you.
I love what Cat Williams. I remember it took me a long time to like Cat Williams, but I'll never forget the day he did that bit about don't complain about your haters. You need to go out in the street and get yourself more haters.
More haters.
You don't have enough haters.
I know. If you don't have haters, then like Jasmine Crockett, you ain't got no haters, then you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So
thank you.
Anyway, plenty of news and plenty of views to get into. I'm going to upset my good friend Dana because, yes, Dana, we are going to talk about DCF today. He hates that subject. He says it all the time. He goes, DCF again. This one's an important one because the story about the person who was under DCF care killed themselves immediately after a DCF visit.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, this is an hour later. Yeah, right? This is a really, really horrible story. Weird part about it is that the review that was written by Christine Guillo, who is also pushing this idea of homeschooling being under the somewhat direction of DCF, sort of flies. Exactly, it passed. By the way, yeah, it flies in the face of what she said in that hearing, especially with DCF dropping the ball so despicably in this case. So we'll get into that. Also, this week we talked to two individuals who work for the Department of Transportation. One was David Ferraro was here, and Carl Chisholm. I want to remember his name. Carl Chisholm, who works for the union. Both of those gentlemen were here because they were trying to get more and more people to understand what's going on the roadways. They have this new thing that they're doing. It was a pilot program that is now permanent. They're putting sort of standalone cameras at each work site so that if someone is speeding through that area, they immediately get ticketed through a ticketing system.
It's new to Connecticut.
Yes, well, okay. That's right. There are places, but these I know that we have cameras of them all over, but these are actual ones that you could just prop up at every site.
I've lived in Virginia, and they have those. In
Virginia. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Absolutely, Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, the pilot program was successful. Now it's at every one of them, and I have some stories about that. But you are going to be amazed at how many people in the pilot program were caught speeding through work zones, and the number of people who were exceeding speeds of 80 and more
in a work zone.
That report is insanity.
I had a friend who was hit by a vehicle in a work zone. His entire body, every bone in his body was broken. I mean, not in the ribs. I mean, like arms and legs, like all of his spinal injuries. Like, it was bad.
Well, David Ferraro, who was our guest on Wednesday, he was also struck in an incident. And, he talks about it. He's one of the people who's, voicing the most concern about not just for the safety of the workers on the road, but also the people who are driving in those areas who need to recognize that this needs to stop. They say that the cameras have caused people to slow down. They've seen a downtick, if you will, of people who are speeding in them. But this pilot program came up with these numbers, and the numbers are crazy. We're talking about some people exceeding 80 miles per hour in those zones.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really crazy. Also, I want to talk about the Supreme Court ruling in Louisiana, or about Louisiana. And you may have heard a lot of people from the African-American community screaming and hollering about this, about how bad this is for blacks. I got to say this. If there was ever a time in my life when I saw the African American community do a complete 180 on itself from the civil rights movement, we are here. Because what Hakeem Jeffries and the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus are saying is, I mean, what was the civil rights movement about if what these people are arguing for?
Well, they're asking for resegregation, basically.
Yes, that's it.
And
I wish they would just say that. But
listen, we liked being by ourselves. Let us be by ourselves again.
And
they can't.
It might just have to be that way to give folks what they want. And I'll say this before we have to go to break. White Mike calls here a lot. Yesterday he had a great call with me, and he was so inflammatory but funny as all get out. But he made this claim many, many moons ago, and I've known Mike since 2012. And he was making this claim that says, you know what, we should give these guys, the Congressional Black Caucus, black activists, all of these folks, we should give them exactly what they want.
13% of the population, right?
Yeah, give them exactly what they want. Give them their segregated areas where it's just them. Their leaders, their communities, banks, whatever the case is, it's all black income, black money circulating through their community. Just give it to them.
Does this mean white women can no longer come in and commandeer their movement?
Never.
Okay.
Never. In fact, it is, call it whatever you want, black zones and all those things. And Mike says, give this to them, exactly what they want. Give them that. And then walk away. And if anybody turns around and says, this isn't working. If anyone turns around and says, we're sorry, we screwed up, say no. Say no. And his belief is, as are many others who are not very public and not very vocal, they say, and I believe it, I'm telling you because I know, every one of those black communities will turn into what Appalachia is. And that's the truth.
Absolutely. They got to keep their own money in the community.
Keep their own money in the community. Take care of themselves, policing themselves. Remember, they don't believe in policing. Not to the degree. Not whatever. No. They can purchase whatever they want to purchase. I'm not saying like completely
close the markets.
X them out of the market.
Okay.
Whatever it is that is so.
So their own schools, their own homes, their own hospitals.
Exactly.
Their own lawyers.
Whatever it is conducive to what's called the blackosphere. You have it, and it's in your community. You can operate amongst yourselves freely if that's the way you want it. If you want segregation, if you want that strong, if you want to have your own senators, have your own mayors, make sure they're indicative of who you are and your identity. Whatever the case is, have it. But many people believe, give it 10 years. It will not last. They'll be begging to be a part of regular society. But he says in order to happen, you actually have to give it to them.
Yeah.
So, and I totally agree with that. But people get mad at me for saying it. It was like, oh, what, you don't think that we can make it? Hey, buddy, if you think you can, do it. But there's a reason why you don't. Because I said it before and I'll say it again. You live off white acceptance. You need white acceptance. It's in your DNA. That's what you've been led to believe. You are smiling because I know that you want to say something. Don't do it.
I want to say something so ignorant right now.
We got to take a break. We'll come back. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get into today, so stick around. It's me, Reese on the radio, Roseanne on the radio is here. It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
All right, also coming up, we're going to talk about May Day, which is the Communist Celebration Day. And, of course, all the communists came out, teachers union, children of these teachers, and a whole bunch more. And I want to applaud you all for showing yourselves on Communist May Day. We're not communists. Why are you out on the streets on May Day again? Anyway, we'll get into that. The Connecticut Sentinel's got a great article called May Day Irony. Workers over billionaires, funded by billionaires. Yeah, amazing, right? The hypocrisy knows no bounds. We'll get into that also a little bit later. So HB 5044, which is a bill that gives the authority on vaccines to one individual with very little oversight. The constituents cannot contest it. They can't fight this in any way or even lean on their elected leaders to fight for them and hash it out. The governor signed this bill into law just recently. And I said to myself, there's clearly going to be a problem in the Supreme Court with this, as many already knew. But we told you a long time ago that people who are drunk on power, people who did not ask members of this state if they even wanted this. Hey, do you want to have your right to religious freedom checked and balanced by one individual? They didn't bother to ask you. Governor just said, hey, I want it done. And, of course, this supermajority did it. And I had been talking about an exchange with former South Carolina Representative Trey Gowdy, who now has a show on Fox called Sundays in America. He had an exchange with someone, and I kept trying to figure out who it was, and I should have figured it out. I should have known. It was none other than Kathleen Sebelius, the former head of Health and Human Services. And why this exchange is so important is because Kathleen Sebelius famously got pushback from mainstream news media, of all places, when she went on the air on Sunday news shows and told women not to get mammograms at the age of 35. She had instructed them to push it all the way back to when they were 55 because mammograms, early detection was key. That's what the health professionals were telling women for a long time. Now we've learned since then, Roseanne, help me if I'm wrong here. Didn't they find out that mammograms are not helpful now?
It's not that they're not helpful. They're just finding a correlation between women who get annual breast mammograms starting at 35 are like 90% more likely to get breast cancer.
Right.
And there's some pretty strong evidence suggesting that it is the radiation from the mammograms being shot directly into the fragile breast tissue that is leading to mutations on cells that are ultimately growing into cancer.
Correct.
Tumors.
Now, at the time when Kathleen Sebelius said that women should push it back from 35 to 55, or I guess maybe even earlier, but when she suggested this, many people in the medical world said, well, that doesn't seem right. What about early detection? She didn't make this argument that was now made about the radiation. What they found out was the reason why she was pushing it back is because if the Affordable Care Act were signed into law, people were going to start charging those mammograms on the exchange, right? They were going to have to go through the exchange. Of course, that would bloat it, right? So they were trying to avoid that. So they were doing all of this handling of the Affordable Care Act, and it's, I guess what was going to be things that they could not control and costs that they could not control. So they were trying to mitigate that cost on the federal government. So people like Diane Sawyer, who was then the anchor of ABC News, they were flipping out, going, what? What is this administration talking about? It was one of the rare moments that the mainstream news media pushed back on the Obama administration. I thought it was fascinating. It was beautiful. But again, it showed exactly what this whole nonsense about the Affordable Care Act was doing. It was violating so many people's basic human rights, and more importantly, their constitutional ones. So here is Trey Gowdy talking to Kathleen Sebelius. And this exchange, when I heard it, made me a tried and true fan of Trey Gowdy. Listen closely.
There are only 3 balancing tests that I am aware of when it comes to matters of constitutional significance. There is the rational basis balancing test for economic legislation. There is the intermediate or mid-level scrutiny for gender-related constitutional issues. And then there is the heightened or strict scrutiny when fundamental rights are involved. And given the fact that I am sure you can see that religious liberty is a fundamental right, which of those 3 constitutional balancing tests were you making reference to when you said you balanced things?
Congressman, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't pretend to understand the nuances of the constitutional balancing tests.
Do you agree with me that government cannot force certain religious beliefs on its citizens?
Yes, sir.
And why can they not do that?
Why can government not force religious beliefs?
What's the basis of that?
The separation of church and state.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Notice how this is getting dumber and dumber. But Trey Gowdy was gracious enough to correct her.
Well, it's the Constitution, right? The First Amendment. Can government decide which religious beliefs are acceptable and not acceptable?
No, sir.
And why can they not do that?
It's part of our Constitution.
Look at her getting frustrated.
I love
to hear
that.
it says the huffing. Yeah.
Just like 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
It's like you're treating me like a 5-year-old. Because unfortunately,
acting like one.
it's like unfortunately you folks don't get it.
It's a legal analysis. I mean, for me, this is not a political analysis. It is a legal analysis. So, before this rule was promulgated, did you read any of the Supreme Court cases on religious liberty?
I did not.
And that's the key to all of this. She did not. Nobody in her department did. They didn't even think of it. No one thought about it. You'd think the Department of Health and Human Services would at least have a legal team. And they must, right? They have to. No? Roseanne, no?
I don't think so.
They have to.
No.
God, they have to.
Well, they might. Like a couple of paralegals or interns or something.
So anyway, here it is right now. Trey Gowdy gives the dissertation of all dissertations, folks. And again, as I said, this exchange between he and Kathleen Sebelius in 2012 is why Trey Gowdy became my hero. And when he left Congress, I was one of probably the only person going, no! Again, because of this. Listen closely and think about HB 5044 when you hear it.
You would agree with me that our society has a compelling interest, not just an important interest, a compelling interest in having an educated citizenry, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when a state said you have to send your children to school until a certain age, and a religious group objected because they did not want to send their children to school until that certain age, do you know who won? It went to the Supreme Court. The religious group won. I think the state has a compelling interest in banning animal sacrifice. Whether it's compelling or just important is irrelevant for purposes of this discussion. When a state banned the practice of animal sacrifice and a religious group objected, it went to the Supreme Court. Do you know who won that?
I do not, sir.
The religious group won. I think the state has an important interest in having license tags on automobiles so law enforcement can know who they're dealing with. When a religious group objected to having a certain license tag on their cars, it went to the Supreme Court. Do you know who won?
I do not.
The religious group won. And most recently, I happen to think government has a compelling interest in avoiding gender discrimination. But this administration took to the Supreme Court a case, Hosanna Tabor, where a religious group wanted to decide who its teachers were, even if it meant gender discrimination. It was a 9-0 opinion in favor of religious liberty. So when you say you balance things, can you understand why I might be seeking a constitutional balancing instead of any other kind?
This is paramount in understanding the whole argument of 5044. When we come back, I'm going to read a summary of all of those cases that Trey Gowdy is citing. especially the crazy one, right? The one that sounds, when you heard it, when I heard it, I went, really? There was a Supreme Court case about that? About animal sacrifice.
Which is now allowed in a small city in Michigan for the Muslim community.
That's right. But guess what? And this is my favorite part of that one. And I'll break it down. You know what part of the religious freedom was? It was the practice of brujeria.
Brujeria.
Whatever. Tomato. But I will break all of these cases down where Trey Gowdy is talking about these are religious freedoms issue. There's even a gender one, a hiring of a particular gender for a job at a church or at a church school. And the religious group won. We're going to break those down in a minute, so stand by. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Our society has a compelling interest, not just an important interest, a compelling interest in having an educated citizenry, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when a state said you have to send your children to school until a certain age, and a religious group objected because they did not want to send their children to school until that certain age, do you know who won? It went to the Supreme Court. The religious group won.
It's Reese on the Radio. We're back, and we're playing this audio from 2012 with Trey Gowdy, former representative of South Carolina, talking to the former HHS Secretary Kathleen Sebelius about religious freedom cases that went to the Supreme Court. And what he's talking about here is the case of Wisconsin versus Yoder in 1972. And it involved a compulsory school law that burdened Amish religious beliefs and parent rights. The court applied strict scrutiny and ruled for the religious plaintiffs. And the point of this is that they were saying Wisconsin was saying that the kids need to go to school until they're 16 years old. The Amish were saying that does not comport with our religious beliefs. The kids are out of school after the 8th grade. Wait until they're in high school. 8th grade, so they can then join the family business. And they went to court, and of course, Yoder won in 1972. Let's go on to the next.
I think the state has a compelling interest in banning animal sacrifice. Whether it's compelling or just important is irrelevant for purposes of this discussion. When a state banned the practice of animal sacrifice and a religious group objected, it went to the Supreme Court. Do you know who won that?
I do not, sir.
The religious group won.
There were two cases that he's referring to here, but one happened afterwards, but before. The Church of Lukumi Babdallah, Lukumi Babalu Aye versus the city of Hialeah. I'm assuming that's Florida, isn't it?
Hialeah?
Yeah. I'm almost certain it is. That was in 1993. Medical exemptions are allowed, but religious exemptions are not. Under Lukumi, laws that are not neutral and generally applicable.
I think the state has an important interest in having license tags on automobiles so law enforcement can know who they're dealing with. When a religious group objected to having a certain license tag on their cars, it went to the Supreme Court. Do you know who won?
I do not.
This case involved having a license plate that read, "Live free or die." The religious group didn't want to have it on their vehicles, so they fought him and took it all the way to the Supreme Court.
The religious group won. And most recently, I happen to think government has a compelling interest in avoiding gender discrimination. But this administration took to the Supreme Court a case, Hosanna Tabor, where a religious group wanted to decide who its teachers were, even if it meant gender discrimination. It was a 9-0 opinion.
They did not want a woman teaching in the school. So naturally she sued. And?
In favor of religious liberty.
As it always is the case. Michael B. said in the chat room, he says, this should be the argument against the vaccine BS here in Connecticut. Yes, I totally, that was the reason why I looked it up. Because it had been bugging me ever since. Because they kept talking about this religious freedom issue. And I said, no, There's no way that they can get around with a law that says your religious freedom doesn't exist. That's bogus.
Right.
There's Supreme Court precedent here. And I looked it up. I actually asked the question to Grok on whether or not Connecticut was in good standing to overturn this based upon religious freedom. Turns out Wisconsin versus Yoder is the strongest argument.
Right.
And that's a 1972 ruling. So we know that that's going to happen. But, you know, is there a likelihood that the Supreme Court will strike it down and says that Connecticut can compel your child to take a vaccine and you do not have religious exemption? Yes. But that means that case has got to come now. Because, again, if Democrats get in charge.
It's a new precedent. So the precedent has already been established.
Yeah.
Typically when the Supreme Court makes a ruling, I'll use the most obvious one, Roe v. Wade, right? It's not a law.
Right.
Roe v. Wade was never a law.
That's right.
It was an upholding of the 14th Amendment for women. So when when SCOTUS makes a decision, it is now precedent. Any and every other applications of or adjustments to the law will be using this citation
Correct.
as the fundamentals and comparing that with the Constitution. How does it contradict? And when you hear someone like Clarence Thomas saying that, you know, using the gerrymandering, for example, it's abhorrent. It's because these are constitutional attorneys. They are constitutional judges. They are subject matter experts when it comes to the Constitution.
Yeah. Michael B. says that Joseph Yoder is his fifth great-grandfather. He was one of the founding people of the Amish community in the United States. Wow. But again, like I said, that whole thing, I'm telling you, that 16-year-old versus the 8th grader, how old are you in 8th grade? I'm just thinking about that. 7th grade, you're like 12, 13, right?
Yeah.
So like 13. So the Amish were able to win a Supreme Court case that said when you're 13 years old, you can drop out of school and learn a trade in the Amish community.
What is the First Amendment?
Freedom of speech and freedom of religion.
Freedom of religion.
Yeah.
So that is the First Amendment for a reason.
Yeah.
It is the one that we hold highest, in highest regard.
That's what I'm saying, folks. And I was doing this research yesterday, and I said, I know I have this one dead to rights. This case with 5044. And again, here it is, the Constitution state completely not even ignoring it. We got to take up the top of the hour. John Silva's out, so we got Dave Mager. He's in the WTIC newsroom.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
That's right. Roseanne is here. Reese is here. It is Friday. I hope you guys got a bunch of stuff planned. Roseanne and I have nothing planned this weekend.
Yes, we do.
What do we have going on this weekend?
We're having dinner with
our friends over at Stadium 15, I presume.
No.
Oh, no, we're having we're having dinner with our friends, Chris B., James, their wives, that we're doing that whole thing.
Giselle.
Is that tomorrow?
And Marceline, yes.
Is that tomorrow?
Yes.
On Saturday? What time?
I'm going to fight you,
Is
sir.
it 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock?
I will send you the message again.
Okay.
I believe it was 4 p.m.
We're having dinner at 4.
Remember when you used to gripe at me for making dinner at 6?
Yeah, No.
That was too late. You said it was too late. We couldn't eat that late. So you're a senior citizen age. Now we eat dinner at 4 o'clock. You get your pudding, and I put you to bed by 8:30.
Okay, thank you. I don't know why I even started that. Oh, you're a mess. Anyway, all right. Well, today is Communist Day. Yay! Yay! Can I say? Let me say this to all of the people who you're probably still out there, or maybe it's over. I know in Los Angeles, its lives are still going on. Maybe the rest of you are on your way home, and you did your rabble rousing for the day. But let me say this to you. Do you know what going outside on May Day and protesting looks like to me? It's like this. It's like finding or watching television and watching your wife cheat on you. That's what it's like. Let me explain. I know this is going to sound off the beaten path, but hear me out.
Okay.
It's a turnoff. It's a turnoff. You do not you see your wife out there flirting with somebody else or kissing somebody else. You hate that.
No, really?
Yeah, like you would
Surprising.
hate that. It's like, what is it? So imagine when I see my fellow citizens, people who live in the country with me, out there celebrating communism.
I would think it's more akin to that crackhead cousin that nobody really talks about.
No.
He's out there, but we're like,
You're cheating on the country. You are. What do you? Because that's what you're doing. You're taking advantage of. I mean, I get you have the right to free speech, but the thing that you are protesting for is elimination of it. You just don't. You're too stupid to know it.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
You know, you're too stupid to recognize it. Marxism, communism. You keep saying it's like, oh, our type of communism is still going to keep our freedoms. No, dear, that's not how communism works. Never. Like, freedoms are the thing that make America horrible to communists and Marxists.
Why they hate us.
Their problem is that you have too many freedoms. And what you're suggesting is that you're on the side of those who wish to take them away. So I know that you're out there, you're just saying, well, this is my constitutional right. Sure it is. But the thing you're doing is, in essence, you are out there expressing your constitutional right to burn your home down.
You have the constitutional right to beat your head across a brick wall until you are a bloody pulp. But it is it is protected. However, it's probably not good for you, and people that love you are going to be like, honey, we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, but that's my point when I said about your wife out there cheating on you, and she knows the cameras are there. Like it's brazen stupidity, and she knows exactly. It's like your wife knows that not only are there cameras there, but your husband and husband and children are watching. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't care, and it was like, you're going to destroy your happy home, and you're going to do it on camera.
It's like a Coldplay.
It's like a Coldplay concert.
But
the point is like you're too stupid to realize that what you are destroying is not just like you think you're liberating yourself because everybody around you is just go girl, but your family at home is saying, Mom, you're destroying us. Like you're wrecking everything that we have, and you're out there celebrating the destruction of what we have. And nobody is turned on by it. Nobody is.
It's really sad. It's the worst part is that people with better understandings of what freedom is, what it costs, and who understand what it's like to not have it. People who have lost their freedom in the past and now have regained it. It's like getting sober, right? Like I value this so highly, so I will guard and protect this at all costs. And I really wish that you could just for a minute see your stupidity through my eyes. I would love for you to see how stupid you look through my eyes. And by the way, I said broad for Adam 12. So.
Yeah. But the fact that they think celebrating this out loud on television is actually going to garner support is insanity. It never does. Very few people look at it and go, wait a minute. Like, again, we're talking about smart people. They are not looking at it going, what exactly are they celebrating here? So, and by the way, for those of you who are saying, Reese, I don't understand exactly what you're meaning about, what they are fighting for is completely different than what you're displaying. Not if you really understand. Like Marxism and communism
and
socialism, all of them are various variations of the same thing. Some are a lighter tone.
Right. Socialism, they call Karl Marx actually says that in order to change a society, you start with socialism.
Indeed.
Then you move into Marxism.
Indeed.
And the final stage is communism, and that should take about 25 years.
Exactly. Now, the whole objective here, and the thing that they do not seem to understand, right, is that people like Karl Marx hated your individual freedoms. He did not want you to have them because he believed in a collective good. Now, this sounds great when you're an idealistic child. Is that like, when your parents teach you when you're very young, you need to share, Bobby. And, I was one of those kids who hated sharing.
I never taught my kids to share.
Exactly. I didn't want my brother touching anything of mine because it belongs to me. I got it on my birthday. Now you're saying we have a collective birthday. His birthday is not independent of mine, and my birthday is not independent of his. And when I get gifts, that means that I have to share them with him. Then what's the purpose of us having birthdays for?
Right.
Right? You are like egging me on with the whole wait till your birthday. We're going to get you and your brother gifts.
We get one family Christmas present.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a board game that nobody wants to play.
And this individualism is a threat to this, soon-to-be communism, right? The Borg, right? You cannot have individual liberties because then you will do things for yourselves.
Start thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Independently.
Exactly.
How dare you?
And these things are not good. So when you keep saying you want people to be more like you, you do not understand that if you can't get them to go willingly, you know that you have to do it by force. And these things are against the freedoms you think we should have. But the fact that you do not understand, and I say this all the time, do you believe in freedom? And they go, yes. And I go, okay, explain to me how communism is freedom. And they go, well, it's a different kind of communism. I'm like, no.
Right.
No.
The idealist, what did he say? I don't want to blast him. In an ideal socialist society.
Yes.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, honey,
yeah.
Nothing's ideal.
Exactly.
The weather is seldom ideal.
Right. But I think what these people think is like they think that if you just say it, that therefore it exists, I look at socialism and capitalism and Marxism the same way. It's not a variation of AIDS. Okay? It just isn't. Okay? It's AIDS. It just is.
AIDS is AIDS.
It's
not
AIDS.
The flu. It's AIDS.
Exactly. It's AIDS. And people keep thinking they're not going to die from it. But remember, if people do not adhere, people must die in order for it to live, right? In order for it to be in existence, people have to die. Why? Because people will not go along normally or naturally. They will not be persuaded by ideas. They must be persuaded by force. Now, what do I mean by that? What are we seeing a growing number of people on the left appreciate and support? We're seeing a growing number of political violence acceptance. Why? Because when you ask them whether or not they're okay, they say because the people are against their rulers or the people who are in charge, wanting Donald Trump to be killed. In order to get what they want, they need people to be in constant fear. In murdering Donald Trump, in their view, the rest of people in MAGA will heal.
That's adorable.
That's the whole idea. They killed him. Oh, no, they'll come after us. We should adhere. It is done by force, and that's why they're accepting. So they can sit up here and say it, and they say it boldly. Oh, it's just something that we have to have. It's just something that we need to do. Why? So we can get them to act or to behave correctly. Oh, so you can no longer get us through your ideas? You can no longer persuade us with some sort of impassioned conversation? No, people have to die. And the reason why they have to die is because they won't go willingly. And here's the crazy part about these rabble-rousers and these young people. They don't recognize, if they had at least picked up a book, that's exactly what Stalin and Lenin.
That's how Iran became Iran today. Highly educated, middle-class women took over the movement and...
Mussolini, don't forget Mussolini, too. I watched this great video on Mussolini a couple of weeks ago, which explained exactly to the point where this guy had his black shirts running around through the country of Italy, and it was at the point where the police were allowing Mussolini's brigades to just run through and create violence.
We're
and there was
seeing that now.
Yeah.
Look at New York City. Look at Michigan. I mean... It
was wild because Mussolini, his black shirts were even It was even in the halls of Congress. And what do we remember in the early 1920s? Who was invited into the halls of Congress? The Klan, the terrorist arm of the Democrat Party. Like that's all of that is the exact fascism and the exact totalitarianism that these people are standing for. They keep saying that it's something that it's not. It is not a utopia. It is a murderous and deadly idea. And that's the reason why they embrace the violence. Because they cannot challenge ideas. They have none. They just want what they want when they want it. And to see these groups standing out there, especially dragging children out there. Right now, only 33% of fourth graders in this country are reading at a proficiency level. That's down from pre-pandemic numbers. Only 22% of high school seniors are proficient in math, the lowest it's been since they started tracking it. 45% of those seniors are below even the basic level in math. In reading, it's 32% below basic. And the Chicago schools are dragging kids out of the classroom that they weren't learning in anyway, out to these May Day protests. Teachers are out on the streets on a communist holiday. Roseanne?
1945, CPUSA, the Communist Party of the United States. It says that they were not officially a Democrat party. However, they were sometimes endorsed and infiltrated the Democrat Party. So there's a history of Democrats supporting this, and it's kind of, God, I'm embarrassed to say I was a Democrat at one point. That means I was a communist. It means I was just anti-American. And now that guy at the airport who called me a communist makes more sense 5 years later. I still want to punch him in the nose, but it makes more sense. And, you know, do I get to go to my list yet?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So remember, the Connecticut Sentinel I mentioned earlier wrote a great article today about the people who are fighting against billionaires because they think, you know, they're fighting against the oligarchy. And truly, they're not. They are funded by the Olive Garden. They are funded by the oligarchy. The list you found out, who are some of the people who are funding these May Day rallies all across the country?
All right, so there's two organizations known as Indivisible and Working Families Party. Mm-hmm. The guy who works for Ned Lamont,
his chief of staff, his wife, that's right, used to be in the, well, she's still there,
right,
but she used to be, I guess, the leader of the Working Families Party.
Well, both of those are funded by George Soros.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who doesn't know this, go and Google George Soros' net worth.
Yes.
The other one is the People's Forum,
mm-hmm,
Party for Socialism and Liberation,
mm-hmm,
the Answer Coalition,
mm-hmm,
and Code Pink.
Oh, yes. Can't forget Code Pink.
Those are funded by that Singham guy who lives in China.
Yeah.
If you don't know him, it's Singham, Singham. Go ahead and
Google trust me, these listeners know about him because they send me everything on the guy every day.
Just saying for those people who are new here.
Yeah. Google
these two men, Soros and Singham, and find out these are the people funding your anti-billionaire tirades.
And Color Revolution. Don't forget that. Craig in the car says Trey Gowdy should be the Attorney General immediately. I was pushing for that, Craig.
I like Trey Gowdy.
I totally do.
He looks like a guy from Doug, the cartoon Doug Pickles.
Yes, he does. Ask Tom Hanks. AIDS will suck the life right out of you.
Did you see Chris responded 4:00?
Chris, did he? Okay. I didn't see him there. Okay, 4:00. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you, sir. And looking forward to seeing you.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow. So that's where we are with this May Day rally with the kids out there, the children, for crying out loud. These people who are on television bragging about how they want to eliminate your basic freedoms and your civil rights.
And the people that are, I have watched so many videos of people saying all these billionaires hoarding all the money. What do you think $1 billion, $1 trillion is? Do you think that somebody has like a big warehouse like Scrooge McDuck and they're just saving stockpiles of cash, and once it's all been hoarded in a corner, there's nothing left for any of you? You people have no idea how money works. Please, for the love of anything and everything good, just look into how money and banking actually works. $1 billion doesn't mean an actual $1 billion bills hoarded in a corner. There's just, please do yourselves a favor. Good grief.
I made this claim a long time ago, and this is, this is as basic as it gets. I was poor most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of hard work and sometimes a lot of lies to get me into some doors to get a job. I just did. But I refused to sit idly by and be some bum on the street. I wasn't going to be a panhandler. I wasn't going to be a welfare recipient. Not that I would have made much because I'm not a woman and I can't bear children. So I had to do what I had to do.
Can't you, though?
No.
Apparently?
No, it can't. So I had to do what I had to do. But it was, I always look at it as like, was it a righteous lie? Yeah, because I got a good job out of it. And when I got on the job, and it wasn't a layabout, I moved up in my position. One job I had was 8 months. I was working underneath the president of the company. And we went from a $1.5 million company to a $2.5 million company in 8 months because of my leadership there. So I will always say this moment, and we got purchased by a large international company called Dynamic. So I always look at, I got myself into the corporate world when I was barely, able to take care of myself. But the bottom line was I did those things. When I look at these people who are walking the streets talking about millionaires and billionaires and talk about how we need to redistribute their wealth, I look at it this way and I say, I would never, ever take money advice from somebody. Well, I would never take money advice from someone who thinks theft is an answer. That's not money marketing. That's not money making. At least even a drug dealer knows that. Even a drug dealer knows that he cannot sustain himself if he's just taking other drug dealers' money. He's going to have to sell some actual drugs in order to sustain himself. Okay? The most basic drug dealer knows that. Okay? He's got to work several corners, and he's got to work several hours, and he's got to look over his shoulder every day because he's got to worry about Popo coming to pick him up. But he understands, I just figured I'd use that. But he knows what he has to do, and he has a sense of business. And if you ask somebody who's a drug dealer who makes a lot of money and has done very well for himself, I am sure that he will tell you that Marxism and communism is not the way to go. He will tell you, hey, I work hard to break these laws. And I've earned every dime that I have.
And not to mention, if you look at the Communist Party upper echelons, they're all living in mansions, eating, the fatted cow.
That's right. And the ones who fought for them to live in that, they're all dead.
Yep.
That's the whole idea. That's what the term useful idiots means, is because at the end of the day, the money that's distributed to you, when there's none left, you have to die because there's nothing else left. Their money's going to come to them because they have seized the means of production, not for you, for themselves. Mm-hmm. You, on the other hand, you get the scraps. You'll all get the same amount of scraps, but
it's scraps.
It's scraps.
Yeah.
And when those scraps are no longer there, you all get a less amount of them.
Well, I think the reason they kill the useful idiot is because they know that these people will get an idea and run with it. If they fought to get us in power, they'll fight to take us out of power.
That's right. Exactly.
So you have to eliminate, what do they say, your loose ends?
That's right.
They did the same thing in Iran when the communist regime came into power. The same thing in Iraq.
And the thing is that they think these benefactors, right, the people who are giving them this money, they think that they're benevolent people. They don't understand when those folks, when it's all said and done and they get their way, and then when they don't get enough and the pitchforks start coming for those people who financed them, they will off you faster than a hot rock through cold water. That's exactly what will happen. We got to take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the radio.
Spider-Man. Hey, he's your friendly neighborhood Reese on the radio. Right now on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, hanging out with my lovely wife. Roseanne is in the house today, hanging out. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
You good? Good?
Doing
okay.
Good, yeah.
All right. You and I have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
And you just celebrated 9 years.
March 28th.
March 28th, 9 years. I'm coming up on 7 years, June 23rd. Which, by the way, I'm not going to lie, it takes forever for a year to pass when you're counting years.
Well, stop it.
I don't know why, but I'm sitting up here going, we just hit May 1st. And I'm like, this June date won't come. But that's, it's a character defect of mine. I always complain that the time's going by so fast, but then other things I'm always thinking that it's going too slow. And I need to realize it's like everything is like one day at a time.
You know what they say, that it's not the road to happy destiny, it's the road of happy destiny.
That's
you are
right.
on the road of
Happy
your
destiny.
happy destiny. So
Yeah.
just be on the road of happy destiny.
I know. I'm just saying that, and we were talking to Marie
Right.
The other day, and I said, when you go into sobriety, you get a coin for day one, then 30 days.
Every month until you get to 12 months. Then
And
it's
then
6 months later.
Right.
And then the following 6 months is 2 years.
Right.
After that, it's once a year.
Once a year.
On the day.
So when I was going through my, 1 month and picking up a coin, I was a coin tramp. I went to
You're motivated. Oh, you're like one of those. You're like a puppy that's treat motivated. Just dangle a piece of bologna or a hot dog, and you're like,
so
I'll sit
every
down.
month that I got sober, I was going to like 4 or 5 different meetings so I could pick up. Anybody picking up 6 months? I'm like, yeah.
Except
like,
that one meeting that you went to where they
What?
didn't do 6 months.
Oh, I was so furious. Oh, it wasn't even 6 months. It was 3 months. And I went to a meeting at Rebos, and they did. I was like, "What? You guys didn't do 3 months?" I was like, "Oh, we only do 6 months here." I was like,
1-6.
Yeah, 1-6, and I was like, bastards. I was like, all mad. I was like, I came all the way down here, wasted an hour. I don't get a coin.
Oh my! Wasted an hour. Wow, sir.
No, but I was really, really awful about that. But anyway, speaking of which, like, I never thought when I was 6 months in or even 7 months in that I would ever be 7 years in.
I know.
Right? No one ever does, when you do. And when you're on the outside looking in of drinking, you can go one of two ways, right? You can sort of look at those who still do with this degree of, compassion. Man, I remember, or that's so sad. Or others like, I don't see how they could, you become that sort of zealot,
Crotchety.
if you will. Yeah, very crotchety. I can't believe people don't drink. They need to get into a program. It's almost very, very angry sort of behavior. I don't, but I'm very interested in the amount of alcohol that is consumed. It fascinates me. Because I'm on this side of it, and I don't look down, so I don't want to give the impression that if you are one of the people I'm talking about here, this is not me looking down on you in any way. As I always say on the show, if it don't apply, let it fly. But it is an interesting subject because there was a news story about it. And I saw the story that said how much money was spent on buying nips. The little alcohol bottles.
I never bought. I always felt like those were a waste of money. Like, I want to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
So for me, it was volume. The savings. I could
Gallon, a fifth.
I didn't buy the gallon. Come on, I'm a woman of class. The bigger bottle of vodka. My vodka always came in glass jars.
What did you get, a vat?
Glass bottle.
If you didn't get a gallon, what did you get?
The small. I guess I don't know.
A fifth of.
Okay, I got that. Whatever it is. But
okay.
Yeah, because that was $20, and the little nips are $5. I'm like, this is one. I don't drink one shot at a time. I'm drinking like 6 or 7 ounces at a time.
Exactly.
So the nips were more expensive.
But we had this conversation so many times here on the show, especially as it pertains to like throwing those nips out, and it's created a lot of litter. But people say, and I think you and I had this discussion before, is that people are getting sort of the quick rush of alcohol, just having that one drink, and the nips have sort of satisfied people so they don't do the excessive drinking of, a fifth or a gallon of alcohol.
I just think it's poor money management.
Okay, I agree with you.
It just is.
But I looked at the numbers here, and these numbers are astonishing. I got to grab the other paperwork that I had here. So they broke it down in this article by towns or communities. So I didn't want to look at the whole map and sort of. So I asked, which are the top 10 towns that are purchasing nips of alcohol? And then I asked another question after I got my answer. So here they are, and I will give the numbers. And I know numbers suck on radio, so I'm going to try to do it slowly so there's no confusion. So the numbers I'm going to give you, the amount of nip bottles sold, and what was the revenue collected in that town. So we'll start from, should I go from the lowest to the highest in the top 10?
Just to the top 3.
Okay.
Don't do all of
Let's do
that's
top
too
5.
much.
Let's do top 5.
All right.
Top 5 are important. So the top 5 are New Haven, 2,403,000 bottles sold, pulling in a revenue of $120,000. Hartford came in number 2, 1,768,000 sold, a revenue pull of $88,000. Bridgeport in third, 1,696,000, $84,000 pulled in. Waterbury, 1,595,000 sold, 79,000, almost 80,000 in fact.
What, like 50 cents a bottle?
Yes, they're really cheap. Anyway, and New Britain comes in, rounds out number 5 with 1,221,000 nip bottles sold for a revenue pull of 61,000. So, and the ones who rounded out after that are Manchester, Norwich, Bristol, Hampden, and Meriden. And so then, after I look at these numbers, I was just fascinated in the numbers and said to myself, what's the poverty rate in these communities? And I don't know why I asked. And I don't want to create a story that isn't there, but I was just interested. For some odd reason, looking at these numbers and the amount of money that went in. By the way, 48 million nip bottles have been sold in Connecticut alone, with generating $2.4 million in municipal revenue.
Wow.
And that was from the 5% surcharge. The 5-cent bottle per surcharge.
Okay. So that wasn't the price made, like the company made from selling a 1 ounce shot.
This is the revenue collected.
This is tax collected.
Exactly.
Oh, so that the numbers you gave, like 850,000, that's how much the state of Connecticut collected. So they're making money on drunks.
A lot.
The state is.
A lot.
Wow. Okay.
So, and by the way, these numbers are from October of 2025 till March of 2026.
Oh, my gosh.
It's not even a year.
That's 6 months. That's how long we've been here.
That's right. That is right. So I started looking at the poverty rate. And I don't know why, but I just had to. So I ranked it, 10 being the highest poverty, of course, 1 being the lowest. Here's what they came up with. Hartford, 10. Their approximate poverty rate is 26 to 27.5%.
Wow.
New Haven, 9. 23.9 to 25% poverty rate. Waterbury, 9. 24 to 25.9. They were tied pretty much. Bridgeport, 8. 21 to 23%. New Britain, 7. 18 to 19.3%. Meriden, 13.2%, a rate of 5 to 6. Manchester, a rate of 4 to 5 with 12.5% poverty rate. Bristol, 4.4 to 6 on that scale, 11 to 14%. Hampden, 4 to 6 with 11 to 14%. Norwich, 4 to 6 on that scale, 12 to 15. But this one was the most interesting. Stamford. Stamford has a 2% poverty rate.
Okay.
Only 9.1%. They are below the state average, one of the lower rates in the group, the wealthiest suburb of the group. And I was asking the question, why did Stamford, with just a 2 ranking on poverty level, have the level of alcohol consumption in nips? You said something that was...
It's a college town.
And?
University.
But you said it was probably...
The college kids. They go... And so it's twofold, right? You got the college kids that are on campus, and they go and they buy the nips, and, because that's what college kids do. You drink, you sleep, you go to school. But also maybe some of the poorer communities around are going into Stamford to purchase. I don't know.
You said earlier depression.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, people who are depressed tend to utilize outside means of soothing and comforting themselves. Drugs, alcohol, shopping, any number of things. But depression, and it was suicide I was asking about.
Yes.
So the suicide rates tend to be higher. Obviously, when you're more depressed, you do see alcohol consumption increased with depression. They sort of go hand in hand, and then that tends to lead toward suicidal ideations.
What is the one thing that we always say, and I remember this very early on in sobriety, was that, most of these rooms, you can find somebody who was homeless most of their life and been poverty and on welfare most of their life, and the guy sitting right next to him is a Fortune 500 CEO.
That was exactly my situation in AA.
Absolutely.
The first person I engaged in a relationship with after my marriage dissolved was one of those high six-figure income earners, and I left my marriage with children in debt.
Yeah.
So I wasn't exactly in a great position, and
I just thought these numbers were fascinating, and that was the reason why I want to bring them up. But I'll bring up something else when we return. So stand by for that. We'll talk about much, much more when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, when we get back, we've got I got to go with this. Why am I forgetting it? I just had it in front of me. Oh, yeah. The Supreme Court ruling. We're going to talk about that. Cannot forget about that. Also, the 6-month pilot program on the roads, what they were able to find out about people driving through Connecticut in work zones. And there were 1 million cars at one. They went through 1 million cars at one location. Mm-hmm. That apparently at this one intersection, 1 million cars drove through, and the numbers are astounding. The 300,000, well, I don't want to give it away yet, but there are so many cars that went through there. But what they caught them doing, and they broke out a whole list of the speeds that they were going in these work zones, was incredible. So I want to talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about next week. We've got some guests coming up next week. We've got some other plans coming up very soon. Don't forget, we've got the 11th Commandment GOP gubernatorial debate next Thursday or Friday?
The 7th.
It's the 7th.
Right, because...
Is it Thursday, Roland?
That's a Thursday, because Betsy will be doing a meet and greet fundraiser at Stadium 15 on the 9th.
The 7th is what he's asking.
Yours is the 7th. Mine, Betsy's is on the 9th.
Yes. Okay, so a week from yesterday is when we'll be doing that. And don't forget, if you haven't had the opportunity to, go to WTIC.com, go to more, go to contest, and see if you can get in. Other than that, we will be giving away tickets when we tell you to call in right here on WTIC, so stand by for that. And I think, that's it. We've got that stupidest thing I read today. Music news is coming up. And I've got some other stuff and any breaking news going on. Oh, yeah, I forgot that I was going to talk about that crazy thing that no one made a fuss about yesterday. Donald Trump signed an executive order, and it got no traction.
Which one?
The one about the retirement plan.
I totally posted. You don't even know how many people are hating. I want my tax dollars.
Are they really?
Exactly.
No way.
You would rather pay for future generations to have welfare and be homeless instead of giving people an opportunity to pull themselves. What is wrong with you people?
People actually are protesting?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah, I will show you my page.
Okay, I've got to see.
It's ridiculous.
I really thought, apparently Fox News had said something about, it's receiving a bunch of bipartisan support.
Bipartisan, yes, from the candidate, from
congressional leaders. Yeah, sure.
It is normal, everyday idiots walking around the street who think they know something. I don't want my tax dollars paying for that.
You know what this makes me think of? Let me see if I can play this. This is
stupidest
thing
you read today.
This is.
I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's I think it's a legitimate claim.
Donald Trump says your right hand is good. Democrats chop off.
Cut it off! Wow, that's incredible. I really didn't expect that.
Neither did I.
Wow. All right, well, we'll be back in a little bit. Mark Christopher is here. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center, getting you home for those of you getting out early on a Friday. How we doing, sir? All right, coming up in the next 2 hours of Reese on the Radio, we'll talk about DCF and a report that came out about the young person who took their own life after they begged DCF to put them in a foster home, and how they dropped the ball there again. Also, we'll talk about the Supreme Court ruling that says you cannot have a black-only district. You can't. And the so-called rabble-rousers, civil rightsers, and, well, let's just be honest, complete idiots seem to not understand what the Constitution actually means. And last but not least, we'll talk about the work zones and the speeds that are happening all across those work zones in the report that just came out recently. You won't believe your ears when we do. So we'll have all of that when we return. Also, stupidest thing I read today in music news, of course.
Yay.
Try not to sound so enthusiastic there, Roseanne. Let's get another check of our traffic and weather. Mark Christopher is back. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Sir?
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right. Reese is back. Roseanne is back. Plenty of news and plenty of views. You ready with the Supreme Court thing I want to sort of start off the conversation with now?
I wrote my numbers down.
You wrote all of your numbers down. Anyway, so there are plenty of people, of course, in the blackosphere who are, don't look at me.
You can say it, I can't. I'll get canceled.
The blackosphere?
Yeah.
It's not a racial slur.
Sounds like one.
It isn't. The blackosphere is what it is. And it's a bunch of people who do not want to admit that they want special treatment because of their race.
Right.
And they want it. They are too. Yeah, exactly.
You can say it, but I can't. I didn't hear him, but you can say it.
They want special treatment. That's what they want, and they think that they should get that special treatment because their argument is why people have had it all over and we ain't never had it, so now we get special treatment, and that's the way it is. And if I sound like Uncle Ruckus, there's a reason.
With your revitiligo?
Yeah, my revitiligo. And they don't understand the stupidity that they're spewing on television. Sad part is that white folks in the news media, and it is true. And I say this to you, and this is more so for ladies. The guys, not so much. Okay, but definitely the ladies. And I know they listen when Roseanne is here. And I know, ladies, I know you love Reese on the Radio. I love you, too, from the bottom of my heart. So I'm not saying this to make you blush. You may, but I'm not saying it to make you blush, okay? It's nice. It is really, really nice that it is really, really nice that you care so much for us.
What he's trying to say is black men love that white women love them so much.
That's right.
You're
we do.
welcome.
We do. We really, really do. We really do. But we really don't need that kind of help.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm your white translator.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
It is, in a lot of ways, it is sort of, it's nice, okay? But it is a little condescending. It just is. It's condescending. And a lot of these guys, they really do want this special treatment to be supported by white folks. They just do.
But then they got black women to worry about.
But
nobody wants that.
Well, you have to think about it. Black women, unfortunately, at least as it relates to the relationship between black men and black women, it's kind of adversarial. And it's seen everywhere.
But why wouldn't it be when you got so many willing white women to sacrifice everything to give to the black king?
Yes, but, okay, this
That's
is
why black women are so... Okay, let's get back on track.
My point is that when you hear these black men on television, they're always speaking to white women, like Erin Burnett.
Didn't that just happen to you
Nicole Wallace.
Didn't that happen to you at the press conference the other day?
Yes.
I'll get to you in a second. Turn to the pretty white woman
exactly.
in the front.
Yeah.
They always do.
Scott Extra Large. He pulled that stunt on me. I had my hand raised. I'm sitting there. It's a room full of black kids and black women from the NAACP. This beautiful blonde, and I'm not going to lie, she was a very pretty white woman from NBC.
No, she
was.
wasn't. No, she wasn't.
Okay. And she is sitting there, and I'm going to the head of the NAACP for Connecticut with my hand raised, clearly a black man. And he said, hold on, brother, hold on. Let me get to her first, and then I'll get back to you. And I'm like, and I look and I see who's asking the question. I'm like, what? Anyway, they love white women doing exactly what these white women do. And that is coddle them and say what you need, brother.
King.
Yes, go ahead, King. So when you see guys like Derek Johnson of the NAACP, he is the national president. He says today's decision is a devastating blow to what remains of the Voters' Rights Act, a license for corrupt politicians who want to rig the system by silencing entire communities. The Supreme Court betrayed black voters. They betrayed America, and they betrayed our democracy. This ruling is a major setback and put the death knell in our nation's most important federal civil rights law. You see, they think the word civil rights means black rights, not everybody's equal, and if you don't treat them equal, you violated their civil rights. He and many others believe civil rights, that's a black thing, right? That's ignorant, dumb, and stupid. But these white ladies will sit up there and just go,
but the civil rights, the poor black king.
There you go.
Let's get this man some chicken.
Representative Terry Sewell, a black U.S. Congresswoman. She said, the right-wing Supreme Court has dealt a devastating blow to American democracy and signed the death sentence of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Make no mistake, this right-wing Supreme Court is hell-bent on erasing the progress secured by our foremothers and forefathers.
Foremothers?
Yeah, foremothers. That's what she said.
I can't say that word on the radio.
And forefathers during the civil rights movement. But we are not going back. Yes, sweetheart, because we're going forward. That's right. Anthony Daniels, an Alabama House Minority Leader. He is a black Democrat, of course. He said, today's decision marks the latest chapter in an ongoing concerted effort to dismantle the protections and progress that Americans achieved in the civil rights movement. It effectively takes our nation back to a Jim Crow era, a time when there were no black representatives in the southern states with sizable black populations. Somebody explain to me how these people, knowing that Winsome Sears was running for governor in Virginia, voted against her and voted for very, very white. I mean, translucent, white Abigail Spanberger.
With Obama's backing.
With Obama, the first black president's backing.
A black president.
Well, and we don't know that for certain.
His letter.
The
anyway.
NAACP's official statement says, quote, today's Supreme Court decision in Louisiana versus Calais, I think it's Calais, is a direct attack on black voters and marks a shameful moment in our democracy. This ruling opens the door for racial gerrymandering that will take us back to the Jim Crow. Okay. That was the case, you bozo!
Listen, I am chomping at the bit. I am so ragefully astounded at the ignorance
level of
and stupidity of those that have been voted in by other ignorant, stupid people, right? What did they say? Black folks can't vote no more, right?
That's right.
That's the whole thing is our voices won't be heard because we can't have a black district. This is the 15th Amendment in the United States Constitution. 15th Amendment protects the right to vote regardless of race. It bars plans to intentionally dilute minority voting powers through redistricting. Example, cracking or packing voters by race. So this is what the 15th Amendment says. 15th Amendment says we are not going to create jurisdictions specifically for your race. White people don't get a ton of space. Black people don't. Latinos don't. Asians. This says you are an American citizen. Your vote counts. It's right there in black and white. Now,
deep in my heart,
hummers and singers, honey.
You're a hummer. Believe. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thinking about what you said earlier about giving them what they want.
Yes.
Give them their own districts.
Yes.
But they still have to vote in a state election.
That's correct.
What is the current population of African Americans in this country?
The population, we're looking at 48. Well, percentage is 12 to 14%.
12 to 14%.
Looking at 48 to 50 million.
I don't care about the number.
Okay.
Percentage-wise, right?
Yes.
We give them their own voting districts.
Yes.
14 to 15% is their entire voting block.
Yes.
They get 1, maybe 2 delegates for the entire state.
Correct.
How many of them now are going into Washington, D.C. to act on their behalf? If they're lucky, 2, right? Or 4. It was 4 of them total, right? In Louisiana. Fine. For the rest of your life, everybody else will be Republican, and everybody else will vote for Republican policies and Republican presidents because your little 13%, we'll round it right in the middle, your little 13% number means nothing. 13% of nothing when you have 87% of the rest of the country saying we want to vote the way we want to vote. You need to be special. Fine. In fact, you were talking earlier about, oh my God, I can't remember what it was. I was thinking about Africa.
Okay. Why?
Colonization.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, saying that if they were running their own communities.
You're running your own community. Hello, look at the entire continent of Africa. The only parts that are successful. Johannesburg, not black. Egypt, not black.
Comparatively, yes. I mean,
I'm just saying, how many other countries, how many other continents have people that are still nomadic living in grass huts and, wearing loincloths?
No, listen, this is the law. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
There's a reason I'm saying this.
Yes, go ahead.
You want to run your own stuff, that's fine. Well, we can't, we're black, and roger that. I'm tracking. We're all over that. But I need you to take a look at what you're advocating for. Look at Liberia. Liberia never had the luxury, as the African man said, the luxury of being colonized. Look at those people. They were freed from slavery. They were given a lot of land in Africa. Liberia, it is a slum. It is a cesspool. When you want your own stuff, look at Haiti.
They don't want, let me explain something to you. First of all, they don't want their own stuff.
No, they want to be treated, they want us to treat them special.
They do. They do.
No, honey, that's not how America works.
The part of this, and I want to play this clip because I found it astonishing. His name is Josh Johnson, was on Comedy Central. And this clip is so emblematic of who the really, really awful segregationist Uncle Tom house Negro that these people have become. And you see them on these television shows on CNN and MS Now, and they have these white women at the helm who are the host of these shows, and these black men come in and they say these things in front of white folks, and they get applauded by their Democrat overlords. And when I see this, what they don't fail to realize is when you are a black man disparaging another black man and the white folks are applauding you, you folks often say that you're just catering so that you could be accepted. That's what you accuse me of. You see, but there's a difference between you and I. I don't give a damn whether or not the white folks applaud me. My agenda is mine. I do not do this for likes and clicks. These folks do. These folks need acceptance. They live off of it. Ask them about Black Lives Matter. They will tell you. Who had to tell them that Black Lives Matter? They're white overlords. Because in order for them to exist, in order for them to have value, white folks had to give it to them. And that's what they do every day.
One of the most brain-breaking things about this ruling is it's literally taking power from black people in the South, and it was voted for by a black guy from the South. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is black. He might not know it, but he is black. How could you, of all people, vote for this, Clarence?
Because he doesn't vote based on the color of his skin. He votes based on the law. That's why. That's how that works.
You were like an uncle to all of us. Uncle Clarence Thomas. Uncle Thomas for short. Uncle Tom for short.
Laugh it up. Laugh it up. Remember who's in the audience, buddy. Remember who's in the audience. But I don't think. But then again, that's the intended purpose. You know, that's the intended purpose. What are you going to do? We got to take a break, right? Yep, we'll be back. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's here. He's going to get you home. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. How we doing, sir?
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I was about to say, what did you do with your chair? You're all of a sudden all the way up on the thing there.
I moved.
We're back. Reese on the radio. Roseanne on the radio is here. You know what time it is.
Yes, you do.
This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
So Roseanne went through a phase of these things all the time, like baby cows. She wanted one so bad.
I still want one.
Yeah, I know.
A baby Highland cow.
Yeah, we used to make
goat.
a big deal. But this is an interesting story. Out in the countryside, farmers are dealing with a very 21st century problem, and they've come up with a very old solution. Influencers have been swarming rural fields for the perfect cow selfie, trampling crops, stressing the animals, and turning quiet farms into tourist traps. Signs and polite requests ignored. Fences, they climb right over them. Now some farmers are fighting back the only way they know how. Selective breeding. They are deliberately choosing less photogenic cattle. Cows that don't just have an Instagram cute factor, they don't have an Instagram cute factor, so the selfie crowds lose interest and move on. So in essence,
they're making ugly babies.
They're making ugly babies. That's right. It's not a government program, and it's not even new. These ranchers already breed for milk and, yield other healthy herds. But they simply are using some tools to protect their property rights. And other farming communities are saying, finally, someone's doing something. Because when your livelihood is at stake, sometimes it's the best defense, and it's a slightly less adorable cow.
Why not just use an electric fence? I'm a huge proponent of electric fences.
You can't do that in some places because it's dangerous. But again, making the ugly cow is a brilliant idea. Because then you won't show me those cute pictures anymore.
I'm just saying, ugly people get laid too.
Okay.
There's a market for that.
Yeah, you would say that. There is a market for that.
Strippers.
I think it's brilliant. Ugly cows are brilliant because now you won't talk that. I don't want to see another video of these people.
I like the little baby goats in pajamas and they go hopping around the house. It's so cute.
I'm with you, farmers. I'm with you. Make more ugly cows. Let's get a check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher's here. He's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, buddy.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, coming up real soon, we got a chance for you to go to the 11th Commandment gubernatorial debate at Stadium 15 on May 7th at 7 p.m. With the Republicans who are vying for a spot, or the top spot, for the GOP. And
all
that is
2 of them, right?
yeah, that is at the private event room at Stadium 15 and brought to you by AARP Connecticut. Roland, Roseanne wants to go get ice cream today, and we've meant to show these people some love. You took us to a great ice cream place, and the name of it escapes me, but I know it. Hold on. It is called LaCroix ice cream, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Roland.
Yeah, but you have to can you do me a favor and text me the address, because we're going to go get ice cream again there today.
Yeah.
That is a great place. It is very small. The line is out
Literally
the door.
it was cold outside, and people were lining up outside the door to get ice cream.
Yeah, it's always ridiculous like that.
It is crazy there, but
so good.
I'm not going to lie. The ice cream is really, really good, and I broke my 2-month no sugar break for that ice cream, and I'm not gonna lie, it was
worth it.
It was worth it. It was. How long ago was that? Like 2 Fridays ago?
Something like that.
2 or 3 Fridays ago. So
hey, I broke my 2-hour no sugar thing. So I mean, we're on the same page.
So LaCroix ice cream. We're gonna go there after the show today to show them some love. What town is
Plainville.
That? Is it in Plainville? Okay.
Yeah,
so we're gonna go out there, and if you haven't been there, go check it out. It is, really everything,
yummy.
It's really good. It's
homemade,
really good.
everything homemade.
Right,
everything homemade.
And they make a dairy-free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they make a dairy-free.
Like three or four dairy-free options. And
I got to say, I've never seen this at any other place before. They've got a cup with a waffle cone in it. Yeah. And that's what I had.
Yeah.
And I had cookie dough. So it was decadent. I'm not going to lie. That whole
you
thing.
said they're very, very, giving on the scoops.
Yes.
You say 2 scoops and it's really like 3 scoops.
That was crazy because I said, let me just take 2 scoops because I was like, I'm not supposed to have sugar. And I said, I'll just take 2 scoops because I thought it was going to be like 2 little, like scoops you can do at home.
Yeah.
No, gargantuan scoops.
I need the toddler scoop next time. Like just sample spoon. Just use that a couple times. It's a lot.
Rightly, I should say just give me 1 scoop, but I'm not. I'm going to say 2.
Yeah, you got to do 2. You got to do 2.
So LaCroix in Plainville. Thank you. It was a pleasure, and thank you, Roland. We're going to go back there after the show today, so I can get my little sweets on there. I want to talk about this real quick, but you had mentioned off air about this whole thing with what's his name, Jonah Johnson or whatever his name is, calling Josh Johnson calling Clarence Thomas an Uncle Tom.
Right, and I want to say real quick that Harriet Beecher Stowe's original writing and the way he was viewed, Uncle Tom, he was strong, he was brave, he was powerful. He was really a beloved character.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the Jim Crow era that they switched him up. It was Jim Crow era people that decided that meant an overly submissive black man, and it became a slur after that.
So I want to play this from yesterday. Just listen real close to this that I played yesterday. You may have missed it. This was Harry Enton of CNN.
President Trump and the Republican Party are chipping away at the long-term advantage that Democrats have had with black voters, with African Americans. You can see it right here. Look, Trump's approval among African Americans at this point in term 1, he was at 12%. He's been losing ground with a lot of people. He's gaining ground with African Americans. He's up to 16% at this point. And you say, this isn't that big of a shift. But I will tell you, Republicans absolutely love this shift that's going on because Democrats have had such a long-term advantage. The fact that he's actually gaining ground versus where he was in term number 1, this has major implications for elections down the line because Democrats, especially in a lot of these tight races, you talk about places like Georgia, right down in the South, you see this type of movement for Trump actually gaining ground. This could have major ramifications and help put Republicans over the top in a number of southern places in the midterm elections.
The reason why that is so important is we have to tell black folks the truth here.
Oh, don't feel too bad. Has to be this way. You see, the first war didn't change nothing for the Negro. But this one, gonna change everything. Whole lot of people just can't seem to fit into where things seem to be going. See, the black race can't afford you no more. Oh, there used to be a time we'd see somebody like you singing, clowning, yassa-bossing, and we wouldn't do anything. Folks like that. You were good. Homey kind of. When they needed somebody to mistreat, call a name or two, they paraded you. Reminded them of the good old days. Not no more. The day of the Geechee is gone, boy. And you going with it.
I just figured I'd remind you.
It's powerful, and you know what? As culturally insensitive as it may feel, that's the point, right? The comedian you played earlier, was being a Geechee.
That's all it is.
He was shucking and jiving and massing all the way to town.
And them white folks was applauding him.
White ladies
That's
was
right.
loving it.
That's right.
That's right, King. That's right.
God bless him. God bless him. Anyway, moving on. If you drive in Connecticut highways, especially through work zones, listen up. Because starting in June, those new speed cameras are going to start issuing real tickets. Here's what they say you need to know. Last month, the state tested the cameras in a big Meriden work zone at I-91 and I-691, Route 15, where they all come together. There were 1 million vehicles who drove through that area. 300,000 of them, 30%, were clocked at least going 10 miles per hour over the 45-mile-per-hour speed limit. Even more alarming, 230 vehicles were doing 85 miles per hour or faster.
Faster?
That's right, or faster. 7 of them topped speeds of 100 miles per hour. The fastest amongst them was going 110. That's right. A state DOT spokesperson, Josh Morgan, put it bluntly. He says that's 300,000 chances for someone to kill themselves or kill one of our workers. He says, so how does this exactly work? Starting June, cameras will be active up on 15 highway work zones at a time, as long as the post limit is 45 miles per hour or higher. Right now, they're set up at 7 projects, including I-84 in Southbury and Middlebury, I-95 bridge work in West Haven, the Big Meriden interchange, maintenance jobs on I-84 in Southington and Plainville, Route 2 in Glastonbury and Colchester, and I-95 exit 74 in East Lyme. The rules are simple. First offense, 10 to 14 miles per hour over the limit, you get a written warning. 85 miles per hour or faster, no warning. Straight to $75 fines. Every violation after another $75 unless you've been more than a year since your last one. That means that, you could get worse. Important, these cameras only run when workers are actually on the site, not 24/7. You'll know where they are because there'll be big signs posted about 1,000 feet and 500 feet ahead of the work zones. Navigation apps will also flag these locations. You know who pays the ticket. It is always the registered owner, even if someone else is driving. There are, what is it saying? Oh, that's why there are no points on your license and no insurance surcharge. It's about the plate, not the driver. What if the plate is blurry? State police review every image. If they can't clearly read the plate, no ticket and no warning. Can you fight this ticket? Yes, you can contest it if the car is stolen or if the camera wasn't properly calibrated. And no, it's not a cash grab. Morgan says the goal is simple. Slow people down so workers can go home safe at night. He says, quote, if we lose money on this program, that's a win for us. This means people are following the speed limit. And I like that approach. Make sure that and it should be. They should lose money on this because everybody is adhering to the law.
I totally agree. I don't think $75 is enough.
I totally agree with you. I felt bad. Carl Chisholm was here, and he was talking about the fine. In fact, I didn't realize this, but they upped the fine to $75. I thought it was $50 the first one and then $75 on your second. But this, according to this, is saying $75. I didn't want to press him about that because his communications people were here, and I didn't want to get in the whole thing about, because I know that many of them believe that penalties should be harsher.
Absolutely.
I kind of I sort of asked him about it, but he says, of course we all feel that way, but, I have nothing to do with legislation. That's something they're going to have to legislate.
Right, no, that's not their fault. That's, okay, in Virginia, if you are doing 19 over the speed limit, it's like a $500 ticket.
That's right.
20 over the speed limit.
It's reckless driving?
It's reckless driving. You go to jail that night. Like, they put you in handcuffs, they tow your car, you go to jail. And in Virginia, the average speed limit is 55 miles per hour. 55 miles per hour. So doing 80 is reckless, and you're in jail. You do it in a work zone.
Yeah. Forget
it. Now it's, there's additional charges. I think Connecticut is not being hard enough on these people. Why? Where on God's green earth are you going that you need to be doing 110 miles an hour?
I'll tell you what I think it is. And I've seen this. So we'll be driving a long distance, and you know how there'll be road construction through one of the states we're going through, and they have those cinder
jerry walls.
Is that what they're called? Thank you. I've never known what the name of those were.
I think they're jerry walls.
Well, but anyway, they're
gerrymandering on the mind. Jersey wall. It's
Jersey wall.
There
Sorry.
we go.
So they have those walls that are very, very thin.
It cuts off the shoulder, and everybody's
and it's very, very tight, and it can turn in an instant. And if you don't know the route that it's going, you have to be very careful.
It's designed like that intentionally.
Right. And I will go through those things, especially at night.
You drive like an old lady.
I'm not going to, because I hate driving at night. You know how I feel about that.
You drive like a blind old lady at night, so.
But even if the speed limit is 50 in those zones, I do 30. I do 35 at best.
That's dangerous too.
I know you say that.
No, it is. It's against the law. You cannot go below the speed limit either, because that's also causing problems with traffic. It is. Go ahead and look it up. On the commercial race, I want you to look at it. I promise you it is a crime to go to look below. My point is, what are they going to do? Pull me over? There's no way to get to me. My point is that you're driving up the thing. There's no way. What are you going to do? He's going to drive around the car behind me? No. The reason why I do it is because you never know where those things are going to go. And I'm always concerned that we're going to crash into one of those Jersey walls. It bothers the hell out of me. But I understand it because it's construction, and it's just, a part of life. Human lives at risk.
Exactly.
They're people.
But I'm always very, very cautious. I was just saying, I was coming back from our meeting last Wednesday, and as I was just hitting 84 where the cutoff is, because, you go to Bristol, you have that interchange. So I come to that interchange, and I'm about to go to our exit. We're like 2 miles away from the exit. And they were doing construction right there. And it was really, really dark. There's not a lot of street lights there.
Yeah.
And at one point, only thing I saw, and it caught me off guard, were the guys were using saws on the guardrails. And the sparks came out of nowhere. Yeah, I thought Dr. Strange was on the side of the side of the road. Those kind of sparks that he does with his hand. I was like, what the hell is that? And I'm just looking at him, just going, what the heck is that going on? I'm like, I knew there was construction because I saw the cones. I just didn't know anyone was standing there. Mm-hmm. And it happened right there to my right on the passenger side. And it was just there. And I was already slowed down. But when the guy started using the saw and the sparks flew up, I was like, I didn't even see him there. Imagine he had been on the outside of the cone, would I have seen him?
Right.
So that's my whole deal with driving at night. To know that there are people, out of 1 million, to know that there are only, what does it say? How many people did it say? Out of 1 million people, they had 230 doing 85 miles or better. Or worse, I should say. That's a considerable amount just because of the sheer number, but we're talking about 1 million drivers. So that's very low. But the fact that there were 7 of them that were doing 100 miles per hour in that one area is insane.
That is crazy. I've seen the boy on Live 360 doing 90, 95 on I-95 in the greater D.C. area, and I'm thinking, my son has the level of the lack, rather, of complete self-awareness, right? You're invincible. Nothing's going to kill you. You don't realize at that speed you could be dead.
Yeah. And
all
I-95
it takes is one. What are those? One deer.
Yeah, and
All it
I-95
takes
gets deer in that area.
Right. Well, so does Connecticut. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's deer here. But all it takes is one deer. All it takes is one car. We've seen a lot of them here driving without their lights on. You come up on it 100 miles an hour. There's no room to stop.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Your mother gets to find out she lost her baby. Your father gets to find out his child is dead. Your siblings are devastated. God forbid you have children or a wife or husband at home.
Yeah. You got to be,
And then to put the safety of workers. I mean, these guys don't have the luxury of a cage around them. These are their bodies that you're you're putting their lives in danger for what?
Yeah. I don't know. That's why I've been talking about this ad nauseum, about keep it safe out there. Appropriately so. Mark Christopher, he's out there. He's giving you...
From politics to news to music to movies and anything above the sun and outer space and beyond, it's Reese on the radio. Damn, he's good. Only on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
News. Roseanne hates this segment.
I don't hate it.
Yes, you do. You said, it sounds like it's filler. It is filler. It is. Said we need to do something, so we do this. We used to do Hollywood news, but nobody liked it because nobody followed any of the movies that I talked about. So it was kind of, we just moved on. Music news is always good. And plus, it's Mark Christopher's favorite part.
That's true.
Happy birthday to Darcy Reske, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. She is the Smashing Pumpkins bassist who turns 58 years old. Country singer Tim McGraw turns 59. Johnny Colt, who played bass for the Black Crowes and Lynyrd Skynyrd, turns 60. Rita Coolidge turns 81. She's, of course, the Tennessee-raised vocalist who had that song, We're All Alone. Judy Collins, the Seattle folk icon, turns 87. And let's give it up to my man, Ray Parker Jr., the singer of Ghostbusters. It's his birthday today. I make fun of him all the time whenever I talk to him. Sing Ghostbusters again. He turned 72 today. Of course, he is out of Detroit. And he was he had his own group back in the days, but nobody really remembers his music. They remember Ghostbusters. They just do. Also, album chart anniversaries. It is 26 years since Destiny Child released Survivor.
How many years ago?
26 years. 50 years ago, Led Zeppelin Presence had a 2-week run at number 1. The Bellamy Brothers, Let Your Love Flow, hit number 1. 50 years ago, 60 years ago, Beatles performed the final paid live show in the UK NME Poll Winners Contest or concert in Wembley Stadium in 1966. And your favorite guy and mine, Johnny Cash, released I Walk the Line in 1956, his first Billboard country number 1. Stayed on the charts for 43 weeks and sold over 2 million records. Oh, Johnny Cash.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon, and you're listening to Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio, Roseanne on the radio. See, now you understand why we do music news, because Mark likes that. It's right in his wheelhouse, and he has fun with it.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's for Mark. No, I don't mean that. I know it sounded really trite. I didn't mean it like that. I appreciate, I know, I like Mark. I really do.
Yes, okay.
Excuse me. So, yeah, having a way to draw him in is very...
Yeah, and people, the audience loves him, and they love my back and forth and banter. So.
It's nice. I just sit back here going... I don't know any of this stuff.
I know.
I was 3 years old when that song came out.
I know.
Oh, is that Yacht Rock?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Was that Yacht Rock?
No.
Oh, that sounded like... I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, she doesn't know that. She's not going to know that. Yeah, no, it's a great radio song, without a doubt. I want to get into this because I'm going to grab Mark from West Hartford who's on the line here. So, because he has a story that piggybacks this in relation to another wild case out of the Bright Bulb, I think is the name of the child care center, where a young man was arrested after he was caught on camera. Well, the parents, in investigating their child, found out that they were abused by one of the employees, but there was a report that the location or the organization was supposed to shut down. Well, they are still operational. And Mark went down to that location to get some information. One, why aren't they closed? And when there were published reports that they were closing down because of this investigation. But anyway, we'll get to him in a second on that. But I want to talk about this thing with the Department of Children and Families, better known as DCF. A child under the care of DCF, the Connecticut Department of Children and Families, has died by an apparent suicide just 1 hour after a DCF caseworker visited the home. During the visit, the child told the worker she did not feel safe and asked to be taken into foster care. DCF left her with the parent anyway. And the state's independent child advocate is calling that decision part of a much larger ongoing crisis at DCF. Christina Gio, I guess you pronounce her name, G-H-I-O, you and I saw her testify at the homeschooling I guess it's
she loves Connecticut children so much that she's got to prevent them from having access to education at their
by their parents.
Right.
Yes, she is the acting child care advocate, and she released a blistering 15-page letter a day before yesterday, and it's one of the strongest rebukes of the agency in years. She said, "Quote: It is this increasing alarm coupled with ongoing deficits in the quality of case practice, which DCF has been unable to address, that compels OCA to issue this letter of findings and recommendations." Gio says her office has grown increasingly alarmed after reviewing critical incidents and child fatalities. She points to one recent case in particular, a family with a lengthy DCF history in Connecticut, unstable housing, frequent moves in and out of state, and none of the children enrolled in school. Despite all of that information being available to DCF, the agencies decided coming into care was not an option. OCA is now opening full investigation into that child's death. But this letter isn't about one tragedy. It's about the systemic failures of the data that shows it's getting worse and not better. The key findings from the report: in the investigation of family assessments, only about 1 in 4 cases had all 4 basic safety elements done correctly: visiting the children, contacting collaterals, proper risk and safety assessments, and real supervision. The highest risk in home cases where DCF has already decided that the children were abused or neglected but left them in the home. Only 7% of cases met those same basic standards. There are actual cases with 0 documented face-to-face visits with the child and 0 visits with the primary caregiver over a full 6-month period. Gio writes that these foundational parts of the job have been persistently, unacceptably low since May of 2023. She also claims DCF switched to the new Connecticut Kind computer system last August, calling the rollout premature. 8 months later, supervisors still don't have the reports they use to rely on to flag problem cases, and workers say it now takes 30 to 50% longer to enter notes. The child advocate says that DCF leadership has had years of warnings, and the fixes they've offered so far are not adequate. This is the organization that this woman was advocating months ago.
Wasn't months.
Was it weeks ago?
Weeks
ago.
Merely weeks ago.
To get DCF more involved with homeschool parents.
Right.
To, in essence, load their caseload.
Right.
And this woman is now saying, oh, my God, these people can't handle their jobs.
That was the first question I asked you. Is like they're already complaining about being understaffed.
Yep.
Now you're going to give them hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of additional families.
It may just be thousands, but it's still a lot.
With no prerequisites saying no flagging, right? Like these children are in danger. Mm-hmm. You're just going to inundate these workers.
Yep.
Because I don't know why. There's no rationale.
Well, the report says timing is everything because the report dropped the same day the Connecticut House unanimously passed a major child welfare reform bill that creates new oversight for the DCF. Senate Republicans called the findings awful, alarming, and preventable. And the reason why is that there is not any formal review of what DCF. No one
review themselves.
Right. No one is looking at the books, and DCF will not allow anybody to look at the books. And when you have the current governor sitting around talking about, nah, it's all fine, DCF is doing a great job, this report says otherwise.
This is the same guy who thinks that the DOC is doing just fine.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. Whew. Mark is, of course, an independent reporter. Mark Walsh reports is what I call him here on the program. And he is here. What's going on, sir? Oh, wait a minute. That's my bad. There you go.
All right. I guess I got to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for putting me right where I needed to be again yesterday morning.
Yeah.
I'm getting physical therapy for my spine surgery. And next table over, a physical therapist talking with his patient. They start talking about Bright Path, Care.
Right, Bright Path, that's the name.
One of them says it's right next door. And I go, of course, I stop right away. And I go, whoa. I say, what do you mean next door? They go, next complex over. So, of course, that tweaked me. My intent was to just drive over there. And for those of you who go on Mark from West Harvard on X, a lot of times I take video or pictures and I'll narrate behind it. And I'll say something, and I was just planning on seeing an empty building because I heard that they closed down or permanent close down coming up. So I'm thinking like maybe it's just administrators in there cleaning up and all that. I pull up, and what do I see through these big plate glass windows? Little toddlers with one adult in there. There's an adult walking out. I asked, I said, excuse me, do you work here? And she goes, yes. I said, I thought you were closed temporary to close permanently, but without kids. I said, you have kids in there? She goes, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. No comment. Wow. So she walks away. She goes across the way. I didn't realize there's multiple buildings on this property. I didn't realize that till later. I go up to the door, knock on it gently. Here comes a female that was overseeing maybe 4 or 5 toddlers, little. She comes up. I asked, I said, excuse me. I said, I thought this place was closed down. She displayed, obviously, to me anyway, presented as though she was mentally challenged.
Okay.
That's the only way I've been. So,
someone on the spectrum? Someone on the spectrum?
Someone on the spectrum, definitely. There's no way, I saw what I saw and I know what I know. Right. So now I'm going like, oh my God, this isn't good. So I asked I said, she didn't want to talk to me. I said, is there anybody I can talk to? Hold on, I'll get my manager. So I'm waiting outside. I got my camera going. Of course, I am not going to film any kids. That's not my intent. And here comes the manager. Excuse me, can I help you? Because obviously she knows somebody's out there. And I said, yeah. I said, you guys are open? And she says, yes. And those of you who want to hear the exchange, it's quick. It's on X. I'm Mark from West Hartford. And she quickly goes, yes, we are. And I said, while you're being investigated, that triggered her. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I'm going to call the property owner and get you off the property.
Wow.
And I said, well, wait a second. Who do I talk to? Well, I'll get the owner, and you can hear her shut the door on me. So there was no intent on communicating with me. So, of course, right away I call Avon PD. The chief of police, his name is Neil Drife. He's out on vacation. I get a nice lieutenant who spent a lengthy amount of time with me because now I had questions. I said, they're still open? And I said, how is that? And he goes, well, we don't have the ability. And I said, I know that, but why are they open? Aren't you guys investigating? And he goes, yes, it just started. He said the state of Connecticut, and then he tells me DCF, and get this, the Department of Consumer Protection. Who are they protecting these two?
Holy moly!
So these two allowed them to stay open. Yeah, they allowed them to stay open until the permanent closing. Now I'm like, wait a second, and I asked the lieutenant, I said, so tell me, it's possible that people are working in there now that either were around for the individual who molested these kids.
That's right.
Or they know about it, they didn't know about it. But bottom line is, I don't think they cleaned house and brought new people in. He goes, well, I can't tell you either way for sure, but most likely the same people are operating that facility.
Wow.
And my head just went spinning. First of all, now I'm worried about, like, where the parents that did decide to keep dropping off their kids. That's a whole...
you forget about that. That's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, but were they actually told exactly what happened in there? To this day, I'm always shocked at the things when I tell people things that they should know, and they go, oh, I didn't know that. So maybe, just maybe, these parents, I don't know what type of email went out because I don't have that.
Yeah.
You saw the emails when, I'm not getting lost in the soup. You saw the emails from that private school, Solomon Schechter.
Yeah.
They go out, and you would think everything's okay. This is under control. We're investigating. Maybe they made these parents feel so comfortable that they're like, oh, well, you know what? They got this guy. Nothing else is going on. We'll keep bringing our kids there.
This is such a classic case of Connecticut in so many ways showing its true self about this concept. All we ever hear is them talking about how they're trying to protect the children of this state, but they keep dropping the ball, and they do it blatantly. This place is supposed to be shut down, and everybody's like, nah, let them operate until the investigation is over.
And asking for more responsibility on top of
it. Or Roseanne, how about this? Until they decide to close down. Whoa, time out. No, how about we decide? Like, you've seen bars get closed down for, serving underage kids. You've seen other things. You're telling me that DCF and the Department of Consumer Protection, DCP, they didn't have the authority to go like, whoa, no, you know what? We're shutting this down like today.
Exactly.
So we look into it. We might let you open up. But here's the thing is, and I just want to on with this, I'm not taking credit. But early this morning, I put that video up, and like an hour and a half, 2 hours later, they decided now to close down multiple buildings. I don't know which buildings. That's what I got.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give you kudos nonetheless, my friend. Because
they closed down today, and it's on NBC. They covered it, and they said ahead of schedule. So, You know what? If I had anything to do with it, then you know what? So be it. But I'm just glad it happened.
There you go.
I'm just I'm mortified. So, listen, thanks a lot for the time. I'll talk to you next week. We got some good stuff next week.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of stuff. Yeah. In fact, speaking of Solomon Schechter, we've got some big news coming up next week. Near the middle of, I think it's Thursday, but we'll inform everybody. Yeah, it's on Thursday.
Yeah,
but
and we're going to ask your listeners right now. We'll talk about it next week. Mark off your calendar for 2:00. You're coming into Hartford. You're going to assist Mark Walsh, Mark from West Hartford, and more importantly, the mother of a child that was inappropriately touched at that private school.
Yeah, indeed.
I want you guys in the courtroom with me, please. I need your support.
You got it.
I'll be there.
Thank you. You got it, sir.
I think the
Thank you, Mark. Yeah.
I think the word that's missing for DCF is incompetent.
Yeah, there's a lot of it going on.
Incompetent.
All right, we got to take a break. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher is back.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
You know what time it is, Roseanne?
Now, what have we learned?
What have we learned?
What have we learned from this little fable?
So what have we learned if nothing else, children?
So what have we learned, huh? So what have we learned from that?
So what have we learned here today?
What have we learned so far?
Roseanne, what have you learned today, if anything?
Nips are 50 cents or less. They're under $1. Learn that.
Did you actually find that out?
I never bought that. I always thought it was the stupidest thing. If I'm going to drink like this, that didn't work for me. That was frustrating.
Yeah, that is a frustrating thing.
Yeah, I learned that nips are a waste of money, apparently. And it's amazing. Alcohol affects everybody. Everybody wants it all of the time. Let's see. What else did we talk about today? I know black people want to be segregated.
Yes.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
I think black people want to make their own countries inside of each state so they can elect their own representatives to meet certain stereotypically black needs. Food stamps, 40s, and...
That's awful! That's not what they want!
Food stamps, 40s, and Nikes.
That's not what they want.
Roland, am I wrong?
He said Jordans.
Jordans, my bad.
Same thing as
My
Nikes.
bad.
I don't believe that's insanity. That's not.
I don't think all that's true. The Jordan part, yeah.
Y'all are
I don't know about food stamps. Everybody don't want.
Well, it's no longer food stamps. It's
a
EBT.
card. Yeah,
it's a card.
Yeah.
Okay,
So in some ways,
bad.
it's sort of like, look, I mean,
they wanted to sell it is because they were trying to make extra money.
That's true, but I'm telling you that if you had an opportunity,
what Roseanne learned today.
If you have an opportunity to get, yes, I know it's what you learned. I know it's what you learned today. But if you had an opportunity to get the amount of money that a lot of illegals got on those EBT cards, yeah, I don't see anybody
we
would.
should go to Mexico and break in and then get free stuff.
First of all, not with Donald Trump. We should have done that during the Biden administration.
Yeah, I ain't going to Mexico.
No, I am not.
There's a reason why they coming here.
My brother goes there all the time. His wife from Mexico, they go to Guadalajara
That's different.
all the time.
That's different.
That's a real
That's you're with family.
Yeah.
You're with somebody that's from there.
Yeah.
They know the ins and outs.
I get scared every time my brother goes.
I would never go to Queens. I would never go to Queens.
I will never take you to Queens.
But I'm saying if I had to go to Queens, I'd be better off going with you.
Nah. Nope.
I don't do.
Nope.
Queens ain't terrible like that.
Yes, it is.
Except the house that exploded last night.
Yeah, you see the house exploded? No, that whole place is about to blow. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's here. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hello, Mark.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio here. Roseanne is here. And did you have a good day today, Roseanne?
I did.
You did? You enjoyed yourself?
I always do.
You like being here when you're here?
You always make me say the cheesiest crap. I think your ego needs it. I love being with you anywhere. I don't care where we're at.
All right.
I have fun with you at the Department of what is that? What do they call it here?
The Department of Motor Vehicles?
Where you go get the DMV.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where we are,
we just have fun.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if you want to win a chance to go to the gubernatorial debate, the 11th Commandment GOP gubernatorial debate, call right now at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. That is on May the 7th, next Thursday, at the private event room at Stadium 15. I will be there. Brian Shackman will be there. Morgan Cunningham will be there. And we hope that you will be there. If you give us a call at 860-522-WTIC. And you must be there before 7 o'clock. And it is brought to you by AARP Connecticut. Let me get to these phones real quick. I'm going to start with, let's go with Jerry in Stratford. I saw him call earlier in the day. Jerry, what do you got?
Hey, got a question how you would solve a political problem the Republicans have. And here's what I'm seeing.
Okay.
I think Pelosi, as much as I despise her, is a genius. 25 years ago, she tapped John Mullah Murtaugh, a Marine Corps veteran, Democrat congressman, to start the Abu Ghraib equals Andersonville, the attack on Bush and the war in Iraq, not to improve the U.S. performance, but to gain power.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have Seth Mullah Moulton basically reprising Mullah Murtaugh's role, doing the same thing.
I saw that.
And his credentials as a Marine kind of give him legitimacy, but of course no one ever asked him, what percentage of the Corps do you speak for? 1%, 50%, 100%? So, and then you got this clown in Maine as well. So
Mm-hmm.
how would you kind of break this down to point out that these men were selected precisely because they're willing to betray what they stand for? That the party couldn't care less about. I mean, again, if you look at Seth Mullah Moulton, hundreds of thousands of people died from drugs that poured over Biden's open border. Everybody I know knows somebody that died from heroin or heroin-laced fentanyl, and he did nothing.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry so much about the Moulton character. Here's why. Because the only thing you need to know about him is where he goes. So where do you see him? You'll see him on CNN. He'll do a hit from inside the Capitol, right? He's never anywhere public. Where he hits is always the same place, MSNBC and CNN, and he's always inside the Capitol. That means he's scared to death to go outside. And it's hard to believe that because this guy's a serviceman, right? But he's afraid to go outside. Why? Because he knows that all of the vitriol that he's shooting out on the networks, if he were ever confronted by the core in which you're discussing, right, the part that doesn't represent him, they would immediately excoriate him. So I would Moulton. Is he a senator? No, he's a rep. He's a rep, right?
Yeah, congressman from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Moulton. Moulton. That's the reason why he's there. He was the guy who just recently talked about Pete Hegseth should pay attention to what they did with the submarine captains when they were put in the guillotine. Is that the guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And before that, Quagmire.
Yes,
you know,
they used the word
lost
Quagmire. Yeah, he's a safe space bomb thrower. That's exactly what he is. And you never see him anywhere. I saw him one time with Will Cain on Fox News, and that's exactly what he'll do. He'll show up at a place like that once in a blue moon. He's an absolute no consequence. That's the reason why. Well, I'll put it to you this way. If Pelosi were still in power, like if she was going to be if she was going to be Speaker of the House, like in the event that Democrats were to win the House, I would be fearful of anyone that she bestows that role on. He's just taking that role because there's no Eric Swalwell, and Adam Schiff has been completely incapacitated because he knows there's an investigation into him.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
I mean, he cleaned Hannity's clocks about a month ago.
I saw that.
And I mean, Hannity simply,
Hannity was unprepared. Hannity was unprepared. He has gotten very comfortable in his cushy little spot lately. And
he's too spread too thin, but I don't want to waste
time. Yeah, you're right. Thank you, boss man. I appreciate you, though.
Appreciate it.
You got it. Let's go to Christopher in, where's he in? Saugus? Christopher. Hey,
I'm in Sprague, Reese.
Oh, hey, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Loving your show.
Thank you.
I was the guy who called about pesticides.
Okay.
And our lovely, we're worried about that hydrilla,
Yeah. In fact, you know that now all of a sudden Rosa DeLauro is concerned about glyphosate.
Is she now?
Yes. Ironically, everybody in the House is concerned about glyphosate now, even though they are now voting to use DEQUAT in the waterways. But they're concerned about glyphosate. I don't think that,
because I looked up the bill, Reese, and it's more about streamlining the permit process.
Correct. That's exactly right.
So
that's why somebody brought it up to me, and that's why I said there's nothing in there about DEQUAT.
They want to dump it in your lake before you know they're going to dump it in your lake. Okay.
That's right.
And then I looked into it a little more, and you gave me that girl, that writer. Can't remember her name.
Oh, yeah. In fact, she finally wrote me. She says she's not an authority, although she loved the fact that I asked her. She said she only posted it because she's a bird watcher. She cares very much about birds, and when she heard that DEQUAT was doing this damage to bald eagles, that's why she posted the story, and very few people know about it.
And here's the deal, because, the hydrilla is going to have hydrilla coli in it, all right?
Yeah.
Everybody's minding their own business. It's all great until you put a dibromide on it.
That's right.
Ping!
That's exactly right.
We got a neurotoxin. So, I'm not really I'm going to jump to the Supreme Court because they're talking about Roundup right now.
That's right.
I think the Supreme Court's got it all wrong.
Yes.
Right.
In fact, you are 100% right about that, because I think it's in that case about taking the restrictions off Roundup, sorry.
I think it's more about Bayer trying to block lawsuits.
Right.
Okay. And they did it in Australia. You cannot bring a lawsuit, all right? And they said the same thing. Oh no, 2,4-D, that's attached to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. That.
Wow.
Okay. Well, what's everybody use right now in their weed control mixture? Oh, 2,4-D. Have a good day, folks. Follow the label instructions. Cut it the hell out, okay?
No, you're making such a good, Christopher, you're making such a good point. The thing that scared me to death was I bought Roundup one day for our house because I wanted to get rid of some weeds. I was so afraid to put that thing anywhere near me. Hold on.
Using it for 40 years. Stop it.
Hold on, Roseanne, what do you want to say?
Bayer purchased the company that makes Roundup.
Okay.
Bayer also makes the medication for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Ooh.
Bayer,
divisions. They make plastics too.
Roundup has been linked to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Ooh.
So they're creating the disease. They're creating the disease and then selling you the drugs to cure their disease.
That's interesting.
That's the thing a lot of people don't understand is when you...
Because they'll... Oh, I get you. I'm sorry, Roseanne, for cutting you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you look at who's making what, and like who's in cahoots with making it better or
Yeah.
making it go away,
Yeah.
it's usually owned by the same company. They're all killing dandelion, and I'll tell you, dandelion root, or dandelion, the entire plant, is known to cure naturally a lot of diseases and
Interesting.
ailments. So
Did not know
Bayer
But they
makes
don't look
medications
nice.
to take care of all those things. They are very beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't look at that side of it, Roseanne, and thank you for
Absolutely.
giving me that. That is crazy good, and
Yeah,
I love it when you're in the studio.
Thank you, buddy. Christopher, thank you,
But I
man.
do wanna-
Yeah, real quick.
One quick hit. Yeah, thank you for exonerating all the white people. I think you did it last week. You said I'm okay.
That's
I'm
right.
okay?
100%,
Right, okay.
sir. I appreciate
I'm
you.
not looking over my shoulder now.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. You're fine. You're exonerated now.
Thank you for your time, both
You got
of you.
it, sir.
Have
You
a
got
great
it.
day.
You got it. Let's take Bob in Suffield. How are you, sir?
Great. How you doing?
What
Talked to you a little earlier today. You said to call back when you mentioned the tickets are going to be up.
Yes.
Can you
Okay.
squeeze me in?
Hold
Can I
on.
get a ticket?
You got it. 1 second. Let me put you on hold. Have we chosen anyone yet? Okay. Well, all right. We'll put them up there, and let's go to who's this? I'm going to go to Sam in Waterbury. Is there? Hello. Nope. I went to Rudy. What's up, Rudy?
Hey, one of your greatest accomplishments, because just a comment on the military, this is not why I called in, but only 20% of the military identified in 2020 an election survey as being Democrat. So your biggest accomplishment was converting your wife from a Democrat that took the oath.
He didn't convert me.
She did that on her own.
It's a violation of your oath to vote Democrat.
What did you got?
And this is also, you did a great job using my rebuttal to make him look foolish yesterday. And there are people with 3 chromosomes. They're XXX, and they're still women with women genitalia.
Mm-hmm.
And men sometimes have an extra X chromosome. They're still born a male with the same parts as you and I. They just have a problem with fertility. But the reason I called, I hope Roland's listening.
He's there.
I keep getting in big fights because, I'm older, my restaurant. The younger millennials and all of Generation Z think that LeBron, and I know you're a white man with no staircases.
He does. You're going to say it. He does. He thinks LeBron James is the greatest. Yes, he does.
The whole generation. And I'm like, so I came up with, did you follow the NBA until you got older?
Yeah, very much so. In fact, I think I want to say after Kobe.
If I was picking an all-time GOAT team,
yeah,
I would have Magic, Bird, MJ, Kareem, Wilt, and I'd have Bill Russell and Kobe Bryant, my two guys off the bench.
Stephen Kerr.
No,
the entire Chicago Bulls lineup from 96 to 99.
You're talking to a Chicagoan who is not going to agree with you. Steve Kerr is not in the top 50. He's a liberal freak.
For a 5'4" little guy.
Roland is calling you blasphemous just as this.
6'2". Well, Roland needs to get out here and say something because LeBron James is the only guy I know that lost 6 NBA championships, and Michael's 6-0.
Yeah.
True story.
I know. Well, here he is. Here he comes.
LeBron James had to recruit guys to carry him, and LeBron James in the clutch passes the ball to
Incorrect. He's actually the most clutch guy of all time.
Load management.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan played a full season every year except for 2. Same with Kobe Bryant.
I'm going to say that this is an argument that is going to last till the end of time.
It's really no argument.
Yes,
I'm going to go to my grave saying you, and you didn't play my theme music, but you.
Yes.
I actually made honorable mention All-State in high school basketball. You could probably
trash.
You could probably beat
best bench warmer around.
No,
I'm teasing.
I think, and instead of the money I'd spend on Roseanne if she came down here on vacation, I will put it up against Angelina, whatever her name, Reese, playing you.
Oh, Angel Reese? Oh, forget about it. You telling me that woman? First of all, if I ever played Angel Reese, that woman would build me a house with the amount of bricks she throws before she would ever beat me in a game.
You all have to do this. This is one of the greatest videos I ever saw. It's on YouTube. It's at the Springfield Basketball Hall of Fame. Michael Jordan's retirement speech, and he retired with John Stockton. That famous black college basketball coach. I can't think of her name. You need to watch Michael Jordan's last speech.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. He's the GOAT. And, I mean, if he's not the GOAT, Magic or Bird or Oscar Robertson is. I would take Isaiah Thomas as the first pick in the draft over LeBron James.
And I would too. Thank you, Rudy. I appreciate you. He will kill me on this thing all day, every day. I'm sorry, guys. The rest of you, I don't have enough time to get to you, and I really, really do apologize. But we will see you on Monday. Roseanne will be back, of course, next week as well. But we got to get up out of here. We're going to go get ice cream. So we really appreciate you. Roland, if you could, real quick, who is our winner? And he's still putting all of his information in right now. But next week, we'll still be giving away tickets for you, so you can go to the 11th Commandment gubernatorial debate, which will be on May 7th at the private event room at Stadium 15 in Farmington. So other than that, you can go to WTIC.com, go to more, go to contest, and fill out the forms, see if you can get a chance to win there. Otherwise, you can win here during Brian and Company and myself. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. She is Roseanne on the radio. Say goodnight, Roseanne.
Good night, Roseanne.
And we will see you back here next week. Mark Christopher is getting you home.